Guys doing? I just got back from Ghostbusters Afterlife, which a few years ago I did review the original two Ghostbusters movies. I never reviewed the 2016 one. Don't like it. Simple as that. Yeah, let me just sum up my thoughts about the original two Ghostbusters. They're okay. I don't love them. Here's the thing. I'm 18 years old. I didn't watch the original Ghostbusters back in 1984. I wasn't around for any of that, right? I wasn't around for Ghostbusters. So I have like no nostalgia or like any of that. I didn't grow up watching the films. I kind of just watched them when I was 15 a few years ago. So nothing against them. I just never watched them until then. I actually saw the 2016 one, which I know might seem blasphemy, but I saw that before I saw the originals. Then they didn't watch those movies around the same time I watched that movie. So, you know. So, I'll be honest, I thought this movie was okay. But that's kind of what I thought of the originals. So take that for what you will. If you love the originals, you will probably love this movie, right? Take that for what you will. I have nothing against the originals. I just think they're like fun movies that I enjoy. I don't really take them too seriously. I'm not like one who geeks out. I have some Ghostbusters figures sitting on a shelf, right? I enjoy the movies. I have them on Blu-ray. I rewatched the first one for this. I don't like the second one. But I don't have like this major attachment to the series. And I gotta say, I enjoyed this movie more than I thought I would. I will warn you, I am going to talk spoilers in this video, but I'm not going to do that without warning you first. So I'm going to start with my non-spoilers thoughts, and then I'll get into my spoiler thoughts. I did like this movie. I thought the cast for this movie was good. I liked that the trailers left a lot of this movie out of the trailers, though to be honest, everything that they left out of the trailers was pretty predictable, but there were still some fun surprises to be had within this movie and where it went. Like I was constantly guessing where this movie was going to go, at least, even though some of it was predictable. But I liked where this movie went. And I liked the new cast they got. I thought they did a good job. All their performances were good. Sorry. She wants to say hi. But yeah, I enjoyed the new cast. I thought they were great for what they were. I enjoyed where the story went. I thought it was fun. It was just kind of what it was. I didn't think this movie was particularly laugh out loud funny like the original. Like I laugh out loud when I watch that movie. I don't feel that way about this movie. Just don't feel like that. But there are a couple lines that I laughed at and chuckled at and stuff. I did like the effects in this movie because I get it. They're not here to feel practical, but they're not practical. They have to be CG. That's just the thing with every movie now. But a lot of them felt really practical, which was awesome. I enjoyed that. It felt cool to see more practical looking effects. I enjoyed the score to this movie. The score to this movie was actually like, I kept thinking of E.T. or like the Goonies. Like it felt like an 80s movie score. And that's the best way to describe this movie. It felt like not just a homage to the original Ghostbusters, but it also felt like a homage to like classic 80s kid adventure movies like E.T., the Goonies and stuff. Like where the parents are going to get involved in the story, but they're not going to have that much of a role. And the kids are like going on these adventures, solving these problems, and saving the day in the end. And it's fun. And I enjoyed that. I enjoyed this movie for what it was. Now let's get into spoilers. I knew from the beginning that it was Egon that Egon died, right? Because they didn't really show you what it was. But it's pretty obvious Egon died, and then they flat out tell you it later in the movie. But I liked how he died. It was kind of, I didn't think he was going to be in this movie. Like I just thought he was just going to die, and that's it. And for a lot of this movie, though, it felt like they were shitting on Egon. Like it was like the mom was all whining about how like he left her like the Ghostbusters were talking about how he went crazy. It's clearly not that way. But this movie did feel like once it all wrapped up, it felt more like a tribute. But a lot of this movie did feel like they were crapping on him. And then it's like by the end of it, you're like, oh, they're kind of honoring his legacy, and it's not like that because you see him as a ghost at the end of this movie stuff, and that was fun. It did feel a little forced. I'll be honest to see like the original cast doing their thing, right? Because they just came at the last moment, and it felt like it should have been like the original cast saving the day or something, or not the original cast, but the newer cast saving the day, and they kind of did. They did help in the end, at least. It's interesting. Like I didn't enjoy any of the post credit scenes because I didn't feel like they set up an interesting direction for a sequel. Like they just were kind of there. That's the one thing that was a little bit annoying about this movie was the callbacks. Now, by no means is it as bad as some critics were saying. The callbacks to the original in these movies, or in this movie, were a little like really like the Stay Puft Marshmallow thing. Like that was obviously there so they could sell toys. There's no reason that needed to be there. It didn't ruin the movie or anything, but it's like that's one thing I didn't like about some critics. They were saying like this kind of stuff ruined the movie. I don't think it did. It doesn't matter that much, but it was still like, could you have been a little more creative? Or like when Irma shows up just to say that she's Irma. She doesn't do anything. But like it still was fine. I enjoyed this movie. It was fun. If you love the original Ghostbusters movies, you'll love this movie. If you think they're just okay with me with them like me, then you'll probably enjoy this movie and will have a fun enough time. I'll definitely rewatch it, when I rewatch the first one, which is more I can say for Ghostbusters 2. So, I think it's a fun movie. I'm curious to see where this franchise goes next. I don't really have like super high expectations, but I'm curious what happens next.